Hi guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel for another video this week. I'm just gonna get right into it, but today I'm gonna be showing you how I've basically been A, attempting to stay creative during all of this quarantine stuff, and B, designing remotely. And this is something that I did even before we got ourselves into this situation. By now you know I was in the process of redecorating my New York City studio apartment back in New York, and in sharing that process on my channel I've also given you a little bit of a look at my design process. I don't really have a process. I'm also not a professional, obviously, though I am taking classes to become certified. But until then, this is just me like messing around and having fun, designing spaces and like seeing what I can do with them. But anyways, in past videos, I've just taken you along the process of what it looks like going from the mood boarding phase to more of a photoshopping phase to the next phase was going to be actually decorating. But because it looks a little bit differently when I do it for other people, I thought I might as well show you some of that. Given quarantine and everyone being stuck at home, I know people are trying to redecorate their spaces or just get things done around the house. So if redecorating your space was on your list of things to do, or it's something you want to do in the near future, hopefully the things I share with you today are going to be helpful. Now I should mention, to do this I do mostly use Photoshop. I have it both on my computer and I have an iPad Pro, which I am definitely still figuring out, and Photoshop isn't quite as built out on here yet. That is what I'm going to be using today in the video, but you definitely don't necessarily have to. It depends how kind of, I guess, granular and detailed you want to get. With Photoshop, it gives you a lot more opportunities to do like actual manipulating of things, layering and building together and getting rid of backgrounds. That's the biggest thing I use it for, I would say. But if you don't need to get that detailed, you can definitely use things like Canva. I've talked about this before, but I really like it. Also for like resumes and stuff, it's great. And especially for mood boarding, Google Slides is really awesome, especially because it has like little snap guides that will kind of space everything out evenly for you, which I will actually show you how I use in this video towards the end. Now, I am aware that actual designers do use a little bit of Photoshop, definitely, that's part of the process, but things like SketchUp, AutoCAD, Rhino, which I have not learned any of yet, but I definitely want to. But this is just how I make do. Before we get into things officially, I want to mention something for my next video because I want you guys to be involved in it. I would love to do some type of like giving you guys feedback and tips on your own spaces, like a helping my subscribers with their spaces, whatever type of video. So if you guys are interested in that at all, I would love if you would submit a photo of your space and a brief idea of something you might be looking to change. Just a disclaimer, it's gonna be more of like little tips and tricks and fixes that you can do. We are not doing like, please furnish my whole room for me or anything crazy like that. It'll just be, you send me a photo, I will give you some tips in the form of my video next week. DM me on Instagram your photos and I will try to get as many people as possible into my next video depending on what the feedback looks like. So with that in mind, let's get into things. I recorded my screen, so you will just be hearing like a voiceover and I'll walk you through the process and show you what I'm doing. I hope you guys enjoy the video and let's get to it. So right now I'm working on 3 different projects basically, and that is how this video is going to be structured. Luckily each one happens to be kind of a different thing, so you'll get to see a different part of a process and hopefully something that will be helpful to you. The first one is my friend Tembi's apartment. You have met her before on my channel, and if you follow me on Instagram I post about her constantly, but we have been working on her apartment for a while now. We've had a few situations out of our control that have kind of slowed down the project, COVID-19 being one of them, but we are ready to get back into that. So we are always sending each other different links and stuff of pieces that we like or pieces that we want to see how they would work in the space. So instead of just going ahead and buying them and chancing it and having to deal with returns, I always end up photoshopping stuff together for her so that we can get a good look, or at least a decent general idea of how something's gonna look. That's what I'm gonna be doing today. Our main focus was new chairs for her dining room area because her cats destroyed the ones we found initially. So we're looking for cat-proof chairs especially, and also a rug for her bedroom. Here we go.
Like I mentioned, I'm working on nailing down a few key pieces in my friend Tembi's apartment in Queens, the first being some new dining chairs. Her cats have absolutely destroyed the yellow fabric ones we originally found from Target that fit pretty perfectly in the space. So now we've learned that we either need chairs that aren't made of fabric at all or are leather or velvet. She has those textures in her home already in other spaces, and the cats don't care at all about them but regularly use them, so I think we should be good there. The first thing I needed to do was rebuild essentially her dining room vignette. I made a bigger version of her entire living and dining room when we first started the project, but since this was our main focus today, I thought it'd be helpful to have this instead, or at least in addition. In that area, she has this wood CB2 table and a matching bench on the side that's closer to the wall, so we just needed 2 chairs that looked good and were cat friendly. Can't forget about that. I decided to add in this empty room with wood floors too as the backdrop because we were thinking of moving the rug that's currently under the table and we needed to see what it would look like without it. And I thought this might give us a better idea than building the room on white space since some of the chairs we were looking at were also wood and it's just going to be a lot of wood in one place, so having a similar color background was just helpful. The first style we tried were these cane cantilever chairs with Bordeaux velvet seats, which she really liked, and I think they're beautiful, but they were definitely not the vibe when we ended up putting them in. So I actually tried the olive version as well, and those were way better. So that is a good option. I also added in some accessories she has in the space for a more realistic idea of the look, and then went on to try several other styles, all ones that we had previously agreed that we liked, and I just sent her screenshots of each one as we went. I did something similar for her bedroom, just rebuilding the room on Photoshop using a few key pieces and then just testing a bunch of rugs. This is actually super easy to do. I just use the perspective warp tool on Photoshop and move a bird's eye view photo of the rug into the general shape and angle that I want. Then I drag that layer under the furniture and you're good to go. So we just tried a bunch of those and landed on some good options. We'll be doing a full tour and reveal of her space later when that's done, so I don't want to give too much away, but stay tuned.
Project number 2 is a expansion of my friend Dana's gallery wall. I did her little room upgrade. One of them was her gallery wall and it only had a few things on it, but now she is ready to add some more. Dana's really good at collecting little cool things and especially postcards. For that, I will be showing you how I arrange a gallery wall on Photoshop as well as a little bit of framing ideas.
Okay, now let's talk about gallery walls. I already have a dedicated gallery wall video on my channel, linked on the screen, but here's how I do things before actually hanging if I'm not physically arranging them on the floor first, which is very possible in some cases. Dana had sent me a bunch of photos of her art beforehand, so I had individual photos of each piece and their dimensions, which is super helpful for scale purposes and also just moving things around. For each one, I just got rid of the background and then also went and did the same thing for the pieces she already had, putting each of them on their own separate layers so they were easy to move. And then I just did a bunch of different layout options, some that have her existing pieces staying where they're already hung, so all we really have to do is build it out more, and then some where things are a bit more jumbled, so it'll just be a little bit more of an undertaking. And then for framing ideas, I headed straight to Framebridge, and this is not sponsored, but I love and trust them with anything, but Michael's is also pretty good too. And I just plugged some pieces into their framing tool. We'll most likely be sourcing frames from places like Target or thrift stores, but this was helpful to just get a general idea of what might work color-wise. Scrolling through here, there are a ton of options, and for any frame combo that I liked, I just took a little screenshot and put that into Photoshop both with and without mats. I also played around with the mat width a little bit too, since it could be kind of inconsistent depending on where you're getting your frames and which one you're getting.
Okay, and then last thing, one of my internet to real life friends recently asked me to help out with just making some small upgrades to her room. She just sent me photos and videos of the space as well as a Pinterest mood board of what she's thinking and what she wants. They're pretty minor things, but I think we can really amp up her space by just doing some little upgrades. So I'm gonna be showing you how I take what she sent me, which was a Pinterest mood board, and turning it into a different type of mood board with some ideas using the inspiration and kind of criteria that she gave me, and looking for pieces that can build out that mood board and kind of put us on the path to where we want to take her space. So let's do that.
And now for a project in a much earlier phase for a space that I have not yet helped with or seen in person. My first step is always to ask for some general inspiration or ideas of spaces they like, plus existing photos so I can get a feel for the light, the layout, the furniture, all of that. Then I'll use their inspiration images to create kind of a joint mood board. Tembi likes to say I'm a Pinterest hater, and honestly, it's kind of true. I've just never got into it really, and I just don't use it in my regular life. But what I do really like is their similar photos feature. I just find Pinterest a little hard to use or to find good initial photos on, but this feature is great so that I can look at other spaces based on ones that I've been sent already on Pinterest. You guys probably know this, but if you scroll down from a photo, it'll show you the similar photos. My next step after that is to go in and create an easy mood board using Google Slides, plugging in photos from what they initially sent me, as well as some of my own early ideas, maybe including some potential colors too. This is super fast and simple to do and is so easy to make updates and edits to, as well as crop photos so they all fit nicely. Big fan of Google Slides over here. But anyways, there you have it. There's definitely fine-tuning to be done across the board on all of the things I just showed you in this video, but this is the general way that I found I like to work, so I thought I might as well share some of that with you. All right,
that is the video. Hopefully this was helpful in some way. Hopefully it wasn't just like super random. If you guys got some at least decent ideas, then I will feel like I have done my job for the day. But yeah, that's it. If you have any more questions, if you want any specific help with your space in more of kind of an in-depth way, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to work with you. And also just a reminder, if you would like to participate in my video for next week, remember to DM me a photo or video, whatever, of your space, as well as some ideas of what you would like to change if you have any specifically, and I will try to give you some tips or guidance or suggestions. All right, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. As always, hope everyone is staying safe and healthy and sane most of all, and I will see you guys in the next video next week. On the next video next week? In the next video next week. Either way, I'll see you soon. All right, bye.